Hello everyone, my name is Coaster Bro Cam and today I will be ranking all the big coasters in my favorite theme park and home park, Carowinds. Let's get straight into it. Coming in at number 12, the worst coaster at this park and one of the worst coasters I've ever ridden is Kiddy Hawk. This ride is a true disgrace to this beautiful park and has the potential to ruin roller coasters for little kids. This has to be the most headbanging I think I've ever experienced on any roller coaster ever. This ride is so bad that I have not ridden it in a year and I never plan to ever again. And now at number 11, we have the most mid coaster at this park in my opinion. Vortex. Yeah, I know, a B&M, my favorite manufacturer, as the worst big coaster at the park. Hear me out. This ride did absolutely nothing for me. From the lift hill to the brakes, it just glides around and hurts your entire body. It is also very forceless for me and literally does nothing in my opinion. I think they should say goodbye and tear down this awful ride because I don't even think a floorless conversion can save this thing. Good riddance. At number 10, we have a ride I don't really hate, I just don't really care about it. Ricochet, the park's Mack Wild Mouse. Now, I have done a clone of this down in Illinois, the Dark Knight coaster, and I found that ride to be much more enjoyable except for the loud horn. It just felt a lot smoother and fun than this thing. But Ricochet, I don't know. Like I said, it's not abysmal, but it is in no way a good ride. Let's move on. At number 9, we have the park's boomerang, the Flying Cobras. Now, right off the bat, I will admit that this ride is very intense, and that's about it. It is pretty shaky and not that good with operations. It's a bad ride. It's trash. I'm sorry. The only good part about it is that it's decently intense and has decent theming, I guess. That's literally the only redeeming factor for this dumpster fire of a roller coaster. Anyway, moving on. At number 8, we have a ride I used to hate with a passion, Hurler. However, after riding Grizzly at King's Dominion, it has made me appreciate rough rides a lot more. Yes, Hurler is rough, but it is tolerable. And I'll probably rank it a lot higher after I go this summer. Ignoring the smoothness, this ride has some of the best airtime at the park, only behind Copperhead Strike, Thunder Striker, and Fury 325. This is a good ride. I think I just misunderstood it back when I used to rank it as the worst coaster I've ever ridden. Also, the new turn may help me like this a lot more than I used to. Hopefully. At number 7, we have a fun coaster that unfortunately I have lost the respect for. Nighthawk. Now, when I say I've lost the respect for this ride, I don't mean that it's a bad ride itself. It's just the fact that it is in such a good prime real estate, and it seems to have easily the worst reliability in the entire park. The ride experience itself is pretty good. It is admittedly slightly uncomfortable, but I do think people over-dramatize how rough it is. It's also decently fun. It's okay. Not great, just okay. And coming in at number 6, we have the first ride on this list that I enjoy and have always enjoyed. Carolina Cyclone. Let's see. I understand how people like to have baby tantrums about how you bang your head, but headbanging honestly doesn't really bother me. Hence why in my King's Dominion ranking video, which is coming out soon, I have Anaconda ranked above Tumili, Reptilian, and Backlot Stone Coaster. Anyways, back to Carolina Cyclone. This ride is very fun. The drop gives a fun stomach drop, the loops are decently forceful, the turn into the corkscrew is fun, the corkscrews don't bang your head that much, the helix is fun, and best of all, this thing never gets a wait. Ever. Anyway, moving on. At number 5, we have an amazing family coaster, Carolina Goldrusher. This ride has so many positives about it, such as how it's long, it's fast, and it's intense. And to add to that, it's also one of my favorite coasters I've ever done, and the second best family coaster I've done, only behind Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. This is a fantastic coaster and doesn't get talked about too much, which is shocking to say the least. Now, the only downside is that the operations are less than amazing, but I can look past that. Now that it's time, we move on to the big guns of Carowinds. At number 4, we have a great inverted coaster, Afterburn, my first big roller coaster. This thing slaps so hard. This thing absolutely shreds through this course. It is also arguably the loudest coaster here. It's awesome. This ride is seriously underrated. The drop is awesome, the loop is intense, the Immelman and Zero G roll are seriously whippy, and then you get to the Batwing. Oh my god, this element is insane. Like Carolina Cyclone, this ride usually never gets a line. So if you can, ride in the back. It is so worth it for the Batwing. Now I will admit, after the Batwing, it just does kind of burn off some speed, but other than that, this coaster is awesome. Now number 3 is a roller coaster that I absolutely adore. Copperhead Strike. This coaster is one of my favorite coasters ever and was my number 1 for a very long time. This ride is the definition of just a fun time. Firstly, you have the JoJo roll. Oh my god, this thing is insane. You get so much hang time, it's actually crazy. Then you go into the barn where there's this screen and these people run away from this grandma or something. And then you have your actually powerful and forceful launch. After the launch, you go through the amazing loop. And this entire ride is a combination of intense ejector airtime, time-filled inversions, and crazy fun snaps that unfortunately do not even come close to Project 305. And then your ride is over. Overall, this ride is very, very underrated, but it's only at number 3 because we have 2 that are better. Coming in at number 2 is a fantastic hyper coaster, Thunder Striker. Thunder Striker is undeniably the most underrated coaster I've ever ridden in my life. The drop is nice and floaty, all the hills deliver amazing sustained floater airtime, the helix is forceful, and even though the trims hit hard, they don't really diminish from the airtime that much. I'm proud to admit that this ride currently sits at number 3, only below Project 305 and Fury 325. And here we go, the moment you've all been waiting for. The best roller coaster at the park, and the second best roller coaster I've ever ridden is Fury 325. My god, where do I even start? How about at the station talking about this amazing crew? They are fast and don't staple. I don't think I've ever been stapled on Fury ever. They are also the most hyped up roller coaster crew I've ever seen. The Project 305 crew could never. You'll hear one woo on Project 305. On Fury, the crew gets the entire train hyped up so much. It was even crazier at CoasterCon ERT. Now let's move on to the layout. This is undeniably the best first drop I have ever experienced in my 15 years of life. For 10 sustained seconds, you are flying out of your seat, only to be slammed back down at the bottom in a deafening roar you can hear from the front gate. This ride is full of twists and turns, and the turnaround is probably one of my favorite parts of the ride, only after the drop and airtime hills. But this turn ejects you out of your seat to the side. This part is insane. You can't even process what is happening because before you know it, you are flying over these insane airtime hills that deliver borderline ejector airtime. And after 3 of some of the best sustained airtime hills I've ever felt, Fury slams into the brakes and goes back to the station. Overall, if Project 305 didn't exist, this would be my number 1, and it is currently my second most ridden roller coaster behind Copperhead Strike at a whopping 28 rides. Now we have reached the end, and unfortunately that is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. I will have a merch shop open soon, and a Discord server launching soon, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, goodbye.